If I click on Effect, we can see here the screen that we had a glimpse at before when I clicked on Patch and hit Parameters. And here we can choose from Pipe, Multicomb, Multitap, Echoes or Resonators. We simply choose our type, and as you can see, this all stays the same. The bottom section alters accordingly. And so I can choose a resonator and turn on a collection of none to all three of these actual resonant, effect or modulating or altering sound. Echoes, naturally enough, gives us repeating echoes. In a similar fashion, a multitap is just a delay which has, in this case, 3 different delays. We can see here the time is represented as a percentage. Naturally enough, we'll go down from essentially 0 up to 100. Where does this percentage time actually relate to? It's in this section here. We can see time, if it is set to seconds, is 1 second. So naturally enough, 100% is 1 whole second. Bring this down to 50. Naturally enough, that is half a second. If I now set this to 2, then obviously 100% is now 2 seconds, and so forth. You can change this into beats, as this will sync up its tempo to your host, but I'm going to leave it into time values so we can see the delay time and the repeats as it goes through. If I kill this and bring it down to a much shorter delay, let's try for example somewhere around about here, we can hear how the decay and delay is a lot shorter, naturally enough, because of a shorter time. A multicomb is very similar to how a delay or echo works. A comb filter is essentially just a delay. The difference is the delay time is very short. Here we can see we can have up to 6 of these options. Again, we're getting a similar feature set as what we had on the multitap, but with a much shorter time. As we can see, a maximum of 0.74 seconds, down to a much smaller interval and accuracy than we're likely to want to use with any of the multitap. The comb filter has a very recognisable type of sound, and once you start playing with it, you will actually hear how you've heard these sounds in all sorts of places and all sorts of recordings. And finally, we have the pipe, which essentially gives us 3 controls: an input and then our 2 outputs. It's very colourful. This section here, as you can see, is effectively just a visual feedback, which we control by altering the input from one end of the pipe, and the outputs are where we would effectively hear the resulting waveform. So if you're to imagine just having, for example, a short piece of gutter, put your speaker at this point here, and these as being the microphones, at other points in the pipe, this is how we would hear the result. And we could choose where we had the actual sound being fed into the pipe, and where we were actually listening. We'll also see across the place this control sensitivity, and also you'll see these squares with half triangles within each of them. These don't necessarily exist in all views, as we can see these ones don't have them. The control sensitivity relates to how much sensitivity these have upon either the LFO or the performing. For example, let's imagine I'm panning left to right, and to be very clear, fully left to fully right. If the effect here was set 1, which is the maximum value, then we're effectively going fully left to fully right. However, if this was set now to just a half, being approximate there, the fully left would only translate into halfway across fully right. I'm just going to reset this one so we don't forget about it. But you can alter just how much of an effect these will be listening out for in terms of LFO or perform control. And you can choose to invert the actual ability that this listens into. Possibly sounds a little bit more complex than it needs to be. However, once you do actually play with it within your actual moving of parameters yourself, it'll very much become a lot clearer.